Success isn't just about money. It's about winning in every area of life. Welcome to the Larry Hulsey podcast, where we dive into leadership, business, personal growth, investing, and family so you can prosper the way God intended. I'm Larry Hulsey, and each episode will bring you the wisdom, strategies, and motivation to help you level up in every part of your life. So if you're ready to grow, lead, and succeed, let's get started. All right, what's up, guys? Hey, this is Larry Hulsey on the Larry Hulsey podcast, and I'm super excited to have my good buddy today. We just become friends here over the last month or so, and I'm so excited about what he's doing. He's making moves, he's taking action, and I've learned a lot from him already. So, Ladi, how's it going, man?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Doing great.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, Ladi, you're in New York City?
Yes, sir. Unfortunately.
New York City? You remember that commercial?
Yeah. What'd you say?
You remember that commercial, the one that was for Pace Pecani sauce? They're like, they'd look on the back of the salsa and these cowboys would go, "This was made in New York City." And then one of the guys would say, "Get a rope." No.
No, I don't remember. I don't remember that.
You're not old enough. Perhaps. You ain't old enough for that. I'm going to have to find it on YouTube and send it to you.
Hey, please. I appreciate that. Yeah, but I don't think I've ever seen it. No.
Oh man, it's hilarious. But I'm from Texas, so we like to make fun of people from New York and California. Sure. Yeah, it's just in our blood,
to be fair,
right?
You have every right to it.
Yeah. So hey, why don't you just introduce yourself and tell our listeners what you're, maybe a little bit about your background, and then we can kind of get into the real estate thing, what you're doing with that.
Yeah, I'm happy to. So I've only been in real estate for just under 2 years. I started late 2021, but I was exposed to it a lot earlier than that. For the last several years, I've been driving for Uber, hence my car office. I've been driving for Uber in New York City for some time, and in doing that, I just had the privilege of meeting a lot of really cool people who managed to make a lot of money for themselves. And I'm naturally very nosy. So I would inevitably ask them, questions about their work history and, how they got to where they are. And most of them were super gracious with their time. A lot of them exchanged, numbers with me and all that kind of stuff. And they were really open to offering advice. But the through line between all of those conversations was that they were either touched by real estate or private equity at some point. So those two things they think are the number 1 and 2 creators of wealth in this country. And statistically, they're right. So I caught that real estate bug. It was just in the back of my mind years ago. It might have been 2018. And I was just thinking, I was thinking small, of course. I'm just going to buy a condo in Atlanta. And of course, this is before prices skyrocketed, but I'm going to buy a condo in Atlanta and I'm going to rent it on Airbnb. That was my big dream. One day, just have a condo, one. And rent it on Airbnb. And so that was the bug. Of course, starting off, the challenge for a lot of people, especially if you don't have a lot of money or you don't come from money or something like that, the challenge starting off is that we're always under the impression that it's out of our reach, sort of. You think that, I need money to get in real estate and I don't have money. So dream abandoned.
Right.
So I dropped it as a result for several years, but I would continue to have those conversations where people would say, "Hey, find a way to invest in real estate, find a way to invest in real estate." That all culminated in a decision I made late 2021 and into 2022. I wanted to learn how to code for fun, but the problem with that was I was taking a coding class and I was enjoying it, but I'm an independent contractor. So every moment that I'm not driving, I'm not making money. So I had to choose between coding and driving, and that really frustrated me. That is what led me to finally take real estate seriously, because in my frustration, I Googled, hey, how do I make some passive income? And again, real estate came up. So I was like, there's got to be something to it. Bigger Pockets came up as a great resource. Went down that rabbit hole. Brandon Turner, David Green, those guys are absolute geniuses. They excited me, and eventually I got to a point where I could sort of hold my own in a conversation with people because I understood real estate from a technical standpoint after having read a lot of the books and listened to a lot of the podcasts, or at least I felt like I understood it. Of course,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Moving forward, you realize that you didn't understand anything,
Oh
but
man.
I knew enough to sort of have a semi-intelligent conversation with someone who was
Yeah.
experienced in real estate. Met a
Can
developer
I
guy.
can I
Yeah.
pause you there just one sec? I kind of want to point something out that you said there that I think draws a lot of people into um well, I think it's something everybody wants. I mean, you talked about passive income. And I mean, most people, the majority of the people out there are not they don't have passive income. They have either like contractor, income, like you were saying, with driving, where their hours are tied to their dollars, or they have a regular job where, they have to, clock in, clock out, and they're only making money when they're showing up. And that opportunity for passive income is what attracted me, certainly to real estate, but to my primary business as well. I only want to invest my life in things that are going to have the potential for passive income, residual income, because that's how you're going to experience freedom, right?
1000%. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, we're
So
locked up with, those little window envelopes that keep showing up, that
yeah,
just put us in chains. We
yeah.
have to have something that can pay those babies, even when we're not, grinding and doing the work. So I love uh, I love that part of your story.
I appreciate that. So it basically wrapped up with me meeting a developer last year, who liked what I had to say for whatever reason, took me under his wing, and he would meet with me every week. We'd discuss real estate. We'd walk through property underwriting. Um, yeah, and then by the end of the year, we had become like friends, and there was a project we wanted to start together. Unfortunately, that project fell through. Just logistically, we found it hard. We found it hard to make it work, but
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what gave me the confidence to go out there and started my own company and eventually found Pace, and that's and here we are.
Yes. Tell
But
me about
one of
the developer. So a lot of people think, man, I'd love to have somebody who's being successful in any venture. How did you get this guy to meet with you? This guy's a player. He's making things happen. How'd you develop that relationship?
It's crazy. He'd been doing this for like 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing I would recommend, especially for people starting real estate on the younger side, always reach out to experienced people. Um, part a part of what allowed me to make friends with this guy is he has 2 kids. Neither one of them care about real estate at all.
Mm.
Like that, you know what I mean? So it like
Yeah.
he's really passionate about this thing, and they don't care for it. So just meeting someone who was young and really wanted to make it happen kind of excited him.
Mm-hmm.
So he was excited to share what he knew. I was excited to learn, and that's what started our friendship. So he was super gracious with his time, man. Like I owe a lot of this to him. Like I haven't, you know, done anything major yet, but like just the little that I've managed to accomplish, I owe a lot of it to him. And I still, like, to this day, I reach out to him every now and then, like, hey, yo, thanks for having all those conversations with me. It set me along the right path. And it made me feel like it was possible because, like, this guy that I was friends with, he's
Mm-hmm.
done it for 30 years. No day job, nothing. Just he's managed to invest in real estate and flip properties and all that kind of stuff. 30 years successfully. That's incredible to me.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah. So,
That's awesome. I've found that in my life that people who are successful, I mean, it's scary sometimes as when you're just starting out to like reach out to somebody that you view as much more successful than you, or that's got more, they're up here and you feel like
yeah.
we all feel like we're down here always, we're kind of hard on
I
ourselves.
was so intimidated at first. I basically had to force my way through the initial conversation with him. Everything in me, it's crazy. He was my Uber passenger, right? And the funny thing
Mm-hmm.
is, we hit it off. But I was like, in my head, I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna ask this guy for his number. It's impossible. Like, I'm not even gonna like he's up again. He's up here. I'm down here. Why would I do
Yeah.
that? And then
Yeah.
I dropped him off, and I would just when I helped him get his bags out of the trunk, because I picked him up from the airport or something like that. I think I picked him up from the airport, but I helped him get something out of the trunk. And then for a second, I was just like looking at him, like, am I gonna ask this guy for his number? And then I chickened out, so I drove away. Now, I'm not any Uber drivers out there. I'm not recommending that you do this anyway, but I drove away. Now, Uber gives you the option of being able to call someone if they forget something in your car.
Yeah.
So I was like, I was feeling stupid for not asking him for his phone number. So I was like, okay, he forgot something in my car.
Yeah.
And then Uber generates a number. It doesn't give you their personal number, but it generates a number for you. So you could call them and, like arrange a pickup of whatever item they left. So I got him on the phone. He was confused at first. I'm like, listen, I know this is weird. Cut me off if you don't, if none of this makes any sense to you, but like, I'd really love to connect with you. Just if we can just get on a phone call sometime this coming week to discuss real estate, I'm happy to pick your brain. He was like, hey, absolutely. And then immediately in my head, I'm like, so it's that simple?
Wow.
You just got to ask people. Like, it doesn't require anything special. It doesn't, it doesn't necessarily require a pitch. Just be open about it. Talk to people. That's
like humility, like that. You were humble. I mean, you humbled yourself to make that call and to just ask for help. It takes humility. And man, everybody loves working with somebody who's humble. I mean, anybody who's hungry and wants to do something, man, the guys that are already doing it, man, they're like, I've found that a lot of people like that are very willing to help and very willing to share things. And that's awesome, man. I love that.
I appreciate it.
That's going to be a story that's going to be like a part of your, the story you're going to be telling one day on stages somewhere, about how you became a multi-billionaire in real estate. And let me tell you about the guy who helped me get started. I mean, that's,
yeah.
I love that.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
That'd be incredible. I'd love it.
So you had this relationship with this gentleman. He taught you a lot of things. And then, I know he really showed you how to like underwrite deals. And that was one of the things that really attracted me to you, is a post you made in our, the group with Pace, and just, giving tips on, how to underwrite deals. Cause that's really not my strength yet. I wouldn't say I'm pretty good at building relationships, but the stuff on the technical side, it's just not something that I've really learned yet. So I don't know if maybe you could give a few tips. I mean, I know you can't go into a whole discussion on it in the short time that we have, but maybe a few tips on underwriting and how to, for those of you guys that don't know what underwriting is, it'll also, Ladi, tell them what underwriting is, because there may be some, guys on here like me that are like, well, exactly, what is underwriting? So we can just start there.
Yeah. So to put it simply, underwriting is a good deal versus bad deal. Is this a good deal? Is this a bad deal? And the process of underwriting is just figuring that out, just being able to place a deal in any one of those two categories. When it comes to PMO specifically, there are two factors to pay close attention to. One is the borrower's ability to repay. So the success of this project aside, this individual project, the success of this project aside, can this borrower pay me back? So to figure that out, you want to know if this borrower has cross collateral. So does this borrower own property that I could collateralize? Does this borrower have ample reserves? Is this borrower experienced? All of those things. What's this borrower's exit strategy? Has this exit strategy been approved already? Mm-hmm. These are questions you want to ask. And then separate from that is the borrower's ability to perform on whatever they've agreed to do. So like the borrower's ability to carry out this project. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So like this particular flipper, can this flipper successfully flip this property and sell this property with a healthy margin? Mm-hmm. That's the borrower's ability to perform. So on that side, right, when it comes to the borrower's performance, you're paying a close attention to purchase price. You're paying close attention to scope of work. You're paying close attention to ARV, days on market for that particular area, price per square foot, all of those things. The math stuff is on that side. Mm-hmm. On the first side, which is the borrower's ability to pay you back, you're paying close attention to their documents. Do they have cross collateral? How much equity is available in this cross collateral? Those kinds of things. So yeah, mm-hmm. Two sides. Two sides of that coin. When I'm starting to when I get a request, for example, the first thing I look at is the borrower's ability to repay. Because if this borrower doesn't have the ability to repay, I'm not interested. If this, like,
Mm-hmm.
you almost have to, not even almost, you have to analyze every deal as if we're going to have to sell this asset tomorrow. You can't depend on the
Mm-hmm.
borrower. I don't depend on the borrower finishing the project. None of that matters to me in step one. That matters to me in step two. Step one is, if worst came to worst and my borrower was abducted by aliens tomorrow, do they have
Mm-hmm.
the ability to repay? Is there something I can collect and
Mm.
sell in a fire sale that would give me all the money that I or my capital partner has invested in this deal? If
Mm-hmm.
the answer is no, move on. If the answer is yes, then that's when I start to pay close attention to the property itself and all of those, sexy number stuff.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So first
Mhm.
thing is so just to repeat back what you're saying, what I hear you saying, first thing, check out the borrower themselves. Who are they? What's their experience? What's their what else do they have to secure this investment to make sure that we, number
Yes.
one, don't lose our money. Number one rule, right? Don't lose your money. Don't lose that
Secure.
principle, especially if you're working with other investors, even more important.
That word that you use, secure, that is basically the essence of step one. How secure is this deal? How secure is my money?
That's so good. That is the word we need to remember.
That is the word, yes. And then all that math stuff, part two. That's when you start to
Okay.
comp. That's when you start to look at list versus sale price to see what the property is going to eventually sell for. That's when you start to look at those finer details. But in the beginning is, how secure is this deal? Because if it's not secure, it doesn't matter. Like, even if and that's, unfortunately, that's a mistake that I'm noticing a lot. In the group, a lot of people are lending strictly on ARV. If the
Mm-hmm.
borrower says that, hey, the purchase price is 300, I think my ARV is 650. And they're like, oh, that's a spread of 300,000. The rehab is only 100,000. That's
Mm-hmm.
a potential profit of 250 between me and the borrower. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is, inevitably, you have borrowers that lie about the ARV. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
that's just the
Mm-hmm.
reality of it. Some people, they want funding and they're willing to say whatever, right?
Right.
More often than not, people are trying to be honest. They're just being optimistic.
Right.
They're not trying to defraud. They're not trying to deceive. They're just being really optimistic. So they
Yes.
they genuinely believe that their ARV is 650. It's nowhere near
Mm-hmm.
that.
Right.
So, like, that is part of it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, if they don't finish that project, right, you're not getting this. Even if the ARV is right and it's actually 650, if they don't finish that rehab, you'll never get the 650 back.
Mm-hmm.
Contractors leave. They get I had one guy, his contractor got into a fist fight, a bar fight, in the middle of getting their thing done. So the rehab was several months long. He got into a bar fight, gets arrested, can't finish the can't finish the rehab.
Oh
Things
boy.
happen. Borrowers
Yeah.
get deported. All kinds of things happen. Like,
Absolutely.
not borrowers, contractors get deported. Like, all kinds of things happen.
Yeah.
And you can't account for all of those things. So you want to make sure that the deal, number one, is secure. So it doesn't matter how left field things go once the project actually starts, you have the security you need to recover all of your funds. Now,
Mm-hmm.
to touch on the security part, some people, they know that security is important, but they're kind of mistaken on what the numbers would look like. So, for
Mm-hmm.
example, if they're lending 100K, they'll say, okay, you need to show me cross collateral with equity of 100K. And they
Mm-hmm.
think that that's security. It's not. Because that equity, to pull it out, right, to get it out of the property, you need to sell that property.
Mm-hmm.
Selling requires closing costs, realtor fees.
Right.
And on top of that, you, generally speaking, have to discount that property to get it moved quickly.
Right.
So you can anticipate having to spend between 20 and 30% between all three of those things. You can anticipate having to discount that property that property's sale price by 20 to 30%. Because 10% is going to the agent and closing costs, and then another 20% is going to discounting the property in order to attract the buyer.
Right. Well, that's
so
good.
If in some properties, if the property is worth $100,000 with if the property is worth, let's say, $300,000 and it has $100,000 in equity, right? To sell that property, you need to spend about $100,000.
Right.
That's all the equity you had.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like that's
Yes.
everything's gone. Like your entire the $100,000 that you thought was secure is gone. It went to the agent. It went to you had to basically delete it to get a borrower attracted to the deal. So these are all things you have to consider. Sorry, I'm sweating.
Yeah.
These are all things that you have to consider when doing your math and figuring out whether or not you have the security you need to move forward. So it's not enough to just have 100,000 available. You need to have, honestly, it could be 200, it could be 300 available. It just depends on the value of the property that you're cross collateralizing. So that's a very long conversation, but that is a snippet of it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And also you could consider, if it's a property, if the cross collateral is something that you would want to own at that price that you're borrowing, then you could take that into account, that maybe, okay, that's a house that I'd like to own and I'd like to pay that amount for it. So if this guy defaults and I take that property at that amount, then maybe you can consider that if you're not needing the cash, but you want to take that property.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Very good. Well, listen, I know we're short on time today. I know you've got a very busy schedule. I appreciate you spending some time with me. And I want to dig into this more, because I know I love what you're doing. You're hustling, making it happen. I'm right there behind you, just trying to learn and figure this thing out as we go.
I appreciate that. Hey, for anyone listening, there are a couple of underwriting posts that I made in the Gator group. Please just go back and have a look at it. I'm sure tons of people are already familiar with those concepts. If you are, don't even worry about it. But if you're newer and you'd like to touch up on your underwriting, go back to those posts. I made a few of them in the Gator group, and I will be making some more. I'm hoping to start an underwriting series and have some more detailed discussions about all of these things.
Oh yeah, that'll be
for
awesome.
anyone.
How can people contact you, Ladi? Do you have Instagram or?
I'm starting
Facebook?
to build the business Instagram, but it doesn't really. I'm not great at committing to it. But Facebook, Ladi Sonibarre. Ladi is spelled Ladi. Last name is spelled Sonibare. Send me a DM. I'm happy to underwrite your deals, guys. That's what I do professionally, and
So if you guys need help with underwriting, Ladi could partner with you. He could help underwrite your deals. So if you're like me and you are just getting started with underwriting and you're not confident in your ability to do that, Ladi could partner with you, help you analyze the deal, make sure it's secure, and he would take a percentage of the deal profit, and that'd be win-win for you guys, because he could bring his expertise to the table. And even if you did feel confident, it's good to have another set of eyes. If you got that second set of eyes, because sometimes you just don't see things.
Yeah. I'm open to a second set of eyes as well. Like I'm human. I make mistakes. I overlook things. So yeah, but I'm happy to squat up with you guys. Let's make something happen.
Cool. Awesome. All right. We'll talk to you guys later. Thanks, Ladi. That's a wrap for today. If you got value from this episode, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a show. And if this message resonated with you, share it with a friend and connect with me on social media. I'm at Larry Hulsey, and I'd love to hear how you're applying these lessons in your own journey. So remember, success is more than just one area of life. You want to keep growing, keep leading, and keep prospering the way God intended. We'll see you next time.